this Donald Trump exposing the truth. Such an
Four seasons. Yeah. Got Secret Service everywhere right
Elon
now.
Musk himself on World War III. I mean,
It's quiet right now. You'd have a couple happy dads.
this title
Steiny Zap. Look at him. Guy's pacing around. I'm a
has
little nervous.
1.6 million already,
I mean,
so it's
for
a
this
bit
one,
bigger.
kinda. The other ones are like whatever. Yeah, I mean this is kind of intense. Imagine we just butcher this. All the other reporters, they do this too. They just don't show it, right? Yeah. Tucker definitely. Tucker doesn't drink, but Sean Hannity definitely slams a few before. But we're gonna show it, you know? So we're a lot more real. So. All right, guys. President Trump's about to walk in. Before he walks in, you guys know every week on the Full Send podcast, we're shouting out bars that carry Happy Dad. So if you work at a bar, if you own a bar, tag us on Instagram at Happy Dad. We're always looking.
Slip
We got
this.
Komodo. We're looking out for that every single.
Courage to do that. Coming to the speech, I'm making a speech in a little while.
Are you?
As soon as I'm finished
Okay,
with
yeah.
you,
Oh my God, we have to go for sure.
then the easy work starts. the
Exactly.
speech.
No, we were saying last time we had you on, it's a great honor to have you back. We really
That's right.
appreciate it. Last time we had you on, it was our biggest episode ever, obviously. 7 million views in 24 hours. It was crushing, going viral. I feel like you did
the
such a
one.
good job too. Like everybody
Yeah,
loved it on
missed that
both
one.
sides, and then YouTube took it down.
Yeah.
But you called it.
But you guys were great. You said we will not change it. We're not going to amend it. We're not going to take anything out. And it did really hit. It was a big monster, wasn't it?
Huge. And
I
then
would
we saw
assume.
you at UFC. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're good friends with Dana. We want to give a shout out to Dana for even. putting
He's
this together.
amazing,
Dana
actually,
what?
isn't he?
He's the best guy
amazing.
ever.
We walked in and he said he's never seen anything like that. That was a good walk-in. The place went crazy. It went wild.
When you
and-
walk in like that, do you always expect like a response like that, or are you ever kind of nervous about what the response
Well,
is
I'm
going
not
to be?
too nervous about it. I feel that arena, we had 100% support, and they're incredible people, incredible fighters, great athletes. They're beyond athletes. No athlete can take punishment like that. 250 shots to the face during a round, and then look forward to the second round, right? I mean, who does that? But Dana's amazing. And Dana's, one of the few people that you can say probably could never be the same without him. Everybody's replaceable, they say. As you get older, you'll hear that. I don't think you guys are replaceable from what I understand. I don't think so. But Dana's
Yes,
very
nice
unique. And
compliment.
what he's done with UFC is incredible, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
How does it feel to have that continued support from Dana? Because we know some people probably folded on you.
We have, well, I do. I have continued support
Well,
from
that,
Dana. And, Dana's a tough guy, and he's a smart guy, and he's a loyal person. And I helped Dana at the very beginning when nobody wanted to put UFC on, and I had places that were able to do it, and I did it. And I actually went to the first fight ever, and I said, "Wow, this is unbelievable." And I think we did five of them at the beginning, and then it started catching on. And Dana remembers that. A lot of people don't remember. Like you endorse a politician and they forget.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, if it's convenient for them. So, but a lot of people don't.
Okay.
Dana's a very loyal person, and he's a good friend of mine.
But when we saw you at UFC too, Dana told us you were coming. We got really excited, and I asked you. I was like, Mr. Trump, do you want to come on the Full Send podcast again? I feel like it's such good timing right now. Like, I don't know. Personally, me, I'm watching everything going on here and also abroad around the world, and I just feel like it's such a good time to have you on to speak because, like,
Great.
I don't care what anyone says. Like, I don't care about the backlash. Like, I feel like we need you back right now. Like, we need you back in office, and like, I feel like if people have anything against you, they got to put it aside because, like, I feel like you're the only one right now that can really fix the problems here and abroad.
Well, it's really nice that you say that. I appreciate it. I know you come from both
Mhm.
sides of it, right?
Blessings are hard.
You have the little bit left side and you have the little bit right side, and sometimes the strong right side because we have to take care of our country. But we've never, as a country, been in the danger that we're in right now. You have other countries, in particular Russia, but other countries talking the N word, which is the nuclear word in this case, and you can't use that term. You can't use.
Because there's two N words, right?
There are two N words, right? There's
Which
two
one's
N words.
worse?
They're both real bad, but you can't use the nuclear word. You just can't do it.
Which one
And,
is worse, though?
If you do it, nobody used it during my term because it's so devastating. It's so horrible. If you look at the power of weaponry, the power of nuclear weapons, and all of a sudden now everybody's using it. It's like become just a common part of every speech. and that leads to very bad
Mm.
things. Our country has
I
never
don't
been in the
remember
danger
heard
it's
of
been
the
in.
war.
We don't have ammunition. I don't know if you know that. You've been reading.
Yes.
You guys really keep up on it, but we have very
Right,
little
okay.
ammunition. I gave them a brand new, beautiful military loaded up with ammunition, and we've given much of the ammunition away to Ukraine and other places. And we're very vulnerable right now. We're very vulnerable, and now on top of
So
everything
how?
else, we're supposed to go over to Taiwan and help them. You know, at some point, we're going to have to defend ourselves, and we're going to have to make sure that things are going along. You never heard of a problem with Taiwan,
For the
and you
ships
never
and
heard of a
all.
problem with Ukraine just 3 years ago.
Mhm.
It's like incredible to see this happening.
And it's because
Putin
of
would have
Russia.
never, ever in a million years gone into Ukraine. And President Xi of China would have never, ever, he never talked about it. He wouldn't have done it. And I had conversations with both of them about those subjects, Taiwan and Ukraine,
So what happened
respectively.
then?
And I will tell you, there was no way they would have
Right. This is
done
Russian
Taiwan or Ukraine. This wouldn't have happened.
to Ukraine then.
And now it's almost happening routinely. I think what happened that was so bad was Afghanistan, not the withdrawal, because I had it down to 2,500 troops. We were going to keep Bagram, the big Air Force base, because it's, as you know, you've heard me say it,
I mean,
it's
I
1
didn't got
hour
it
away
out,
from
so
where China makes its nuclear weapons.
That's
That's a
over
big
now.
deal. No,
Mhm.
that's a big deal. And I didn't need it. We didn't need it for
And we gave that up.
We gave it up. We gave it up. We like surrendered. And this is one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world. We just walked. You know who's occupying it very shortly? China. China's taking it over slowly but surely, and they're going to be occupying the whole thing, Bagram. And the way we left Afghanistan was, I think, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
okay, that
And I think that
then
when
what did he do
Putin
then?
and Xi and others saw that,
I
they
think
said, we're incompetent. We don't know what we're doing.
Mhm.
We don't know what we're doing. And I think that emboldened him to go and do the Ukraine thing. And what a mess. But that country's being obliterated.
What's so strategic about Taiwan?
Well,
Like, why are we?
It's 90% of the chips. You know about chips better than
For
most
computers.
people.
Yeah.
You deal in chips, but 90% of the chips and the toughest ones, the most intricate ones, they're made in. And you know, look, they took a lot of business away from us. In all fairness, I do ask. They make tremendous amounts of money in Taiwan, and I do say, well, if we're going to defend a country, aren't we supposed to like be at least partially reimbursed?
Yeah.
Because they did take our chip industry, much of it, almost all of it, and they now are they make approximately 90% of the world's chips. So that's a big thing, because you start throwing bombs in there and start blowing up those factories and
Mhm.
labs where they make the chips. That's going to be a big world problem. There are a lot of problems, but you know,
Let's
the
try and
United
bombs
States
in
cannot
there,
do
man.
everything. And we're in a very bad position. We're in a very vulnerable position because they've given so much so fast to Ukraine that we're in a very bad defensive position. We have to
Saying
build up
them
our ammunition.
and
Who
give
would think
anything
that
to Ukraine? I
we
mean,
were loaded to the gills with ammunition and everything, and
let's
we've
let
given up so
Russia
much.
take over.
And now on top of it, we're supposed to go 9,000 miles
So I
away.
agree
You
with
know,
you.
we're 9,000 miles away from, as you know, from Taiwan. 9,000, and they're 90 miles away. This is little difference. And with that being said, we want to help people out. We want to have freedom, but you know, in many ways, we're no longer a democracy. When you look at what's happening in this, they've weaponized our justice system. They've done things that were unthinkable. I say we don't have a free press. Look what happened to our show the last time we did a show.
Mhm.
You had the biggest show, you had the biggest hits, you were setting records, and they took you down.
And we were wondering why us, because
Well,
you
that's-
have other
it's not
stuff
a
on
free
YouTube,
press,
right?
but
You
when
have
you
like
think-
Fox News
I do.
interviews.
I do.
We feel like we were targeted for that.
Well, I think they targeted because it was a certain point in time, but they'll probably do it again. Let's see. Will they take this show down? Maybe. You know, then maybe. But I love that you stuck to your guns. You said we will not change it. You could have. I think you could have probably taken
This kind of
certain of the
sucks.
things
They
that I
should
said
take
and
them
that we
down.
said
Keep it
together
down.
out. But you stuck. So now we'll give it another shot.
No, we couldn't.
This will
sleep at
be a
night.
big show. This will be even bigger.
Of course.
This will be bigger. You know why? Because we're all hotter now than we were a year ago.
How much does it hurt to have people that do fold on you and switch up?
Well, look, you know, you do what you have to do. And I just feel that I'm here for a certain reason. I'm here to defend the United States of America. I'm here to make America great again. You know, it's a slogan, MAGA. It's become a, and there's probably never been a
MAGA.
slogan like it politically in this country, definitely, maybe in the world, maybe in the history of the world. But it's make America great again. And we have to put America first. Another one that came out, America first. We never put America first. We have politicians that put America last. I think Biden puts America last. It's a real problem. I mean, far better than it does now.
Kaya
Now we
din
have
po na
massive
po
inflation.
coronavirus
We
to.
have tremendous problems. I mean, supply chain problem. We have every problem you can have. Everything was perfect. We had the perfect mix of everything. And I was getting calls from people that I would never have gotten calls from. And they wanted to get together. And I'm telling you, our nation was coming together. So the answer is yes. I think success can bring us together. And I think we can have success. We have to have energy. You know, energy is a thing that caused inflation. When they closed up the energy, the cost of energy, the cost of a tank of gasoline, it went up to $5, $6, $7, $8 in some places. And it's still very high. And if you bring down the cost of energy and if you do some very basic things,
Get rid of the windmills.
the windmills.
That's why I didn't go to Coachella this
oh,
year,
they're
because
so
when you
high.
drive to Palm Springs, you got to see all the windmills. And ever since you said that,
Looks
it
like a
just pisses
junkyard.
me off when I see all the windmills.
How about the old ones that are sitting there rusting
Okay,
and nobody
the-
wants to take them down? And they say you can't put the blades underground because it would be very bad. It's a type of fiber, and you can't bury it because it'll be bad for the environment if you bury it. So what are you going to do with it? Throw it up in the air? You look at certain areas around Coachella. You look at some of those areas where you have those abandoned wind farms. They look like junkyards. And remember, those windmills, many of them are very bad looking to start off. Some have a better design, but they start to rust, they start to rot. And in a certain number of years, they get abandoned. And they say, let's go to another location. No, it's like it's a very, very expensive form of energy. And solar is not powerful enough. If you look at solar, but it's just not big enough. And here we're sitting on the greatest amount of liquid gold, oil, and gas anywhere in the world. And we have it. And we're going to Venezuela now to get it. We're going all over. We're getting, and we have it. We're sitting on it. And now they want to make all electric cars where the batteries are made exclusively by minerals and other things that are in China and other places that China, like the Congo, that China controls, okay? And almost nothing comes out of the United States. It's almost as if they truly hate our country.
Okay.
Look, they're not
Like,
stupid
you want
because
to
they
buy
shoot an election so well, they can't be
5,000
stupid.
dollars
I
iPhone
really
or
believe
something.
the biggest thing that's happening and the scariest thing that's happening is that we've never been in a position where we're more vulnerable because of the incredible power of weaponry. And other countries have these weapons.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, because I'm watching a lot of stuff now, and to me, I feel like people are not realizing, like, how close are we to like a World War III type scenario?
One madman away. You know,
And there's a lot
Okay.
of them,
when I
right?
was young,
One
I
minute.
had an
Uh,
uncle who was
then
a
I
very
think
brilliant
it's
man.
only one.
He was a professor at MIT, and I believe he was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. He was there for almost 40 years, Dr. John Trump. And he would tell me about the power of nuclear, and I sort of wouldn't believe it. And he was right. The power is so massive. It's so incredibly powerful. But everybody said,
That's why we're
because
trying
of
to
this power,
avoid.
nobody will use it because they're assuming that people are sane. Somebody will use it. And when they use it, it will be devastation like never seen before. But the theory on nuclear is that it's so powerful that no person will ever use it. But that's assuming that people are sane. Or it's assuming that people win wars because, you know, you're not going to use it. But if you're going to lose a war, you'll say, hey, we're losing the war. If we use nuclear, that makes up for a lot of loss. That's what will happen.
Yeah.
And so it's very dangerous. But the theory was that nobody would ever use it because of the power, because of the destructive capability of nuclear. And the fact is that there are people out there right now, there are countries out there right now, the leaders and the leadership, and I know a lot of them, they would use it. If forced, they would use it. And once it gets used, the world as you know it will end. And when I see these people talking about global warming, where the ocean will rise by 1/100th of an inch over the next 350 years, where it's going to get a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler. They don't know. You know, they talk.
The
There used to
guy-
be global
They
warming.
don't talk
Some
about it as much.
Philip
though.
No, they
scientist,
don't talk. No, they
Al
call
Gore
it.
went into hiding or
Well,
something.
no, now they call it climate change because they said it's going to get warmer. It was getting colder. Then it was going to get colder. It's getting warmer. You know, they used to say global cooling because they thought the world was going to freeze. That was in the 1920s. They had a thing, global cooling.
Kami campaign
Then it went to global
1920s to
warming, but
2023.
that wasn't
ano,
working. So now they go to climate change because that covers everything. But your
That's
real global
100 years
warming
ago,
would be
bro.
nuclear global warming. That's a warming that will take seconds, and that's a warming that will melt granite. You know what granite is? It's a very powerful, very hard stone. If you take a look at Hiroshima or Hiroshima, as a lot of people call it, Nagasaki, where they used nuclear in a very primitive form, it actually took granite, large areas of granite, and melted it. And now it's like an ice skating rink. It melted into virtual water. And now, when it hardened, it was
1945.
absolutely
That's a long
stone
time ago.
cold level. It melted granite. You could hit granite with a blowtorch and it won't even do anything
crazy.
to it. So you're talking about a level of power, a level of heat, a level of destruction. Nobody talks about that. They talk about global warming. It's sick. And we have to get rid of nuclear weapons. You know, one of the things I was going to do and I would have done is the denuking of everything, the denuclearization of everything, because you have to take them away. You have to get rid of and Russia would have done it, and China would have done it. I used to talk to Putin about it. He
Yeah.
loved the idea of doing it.
So what? We would have taken away nukes, and
No,
they
where
would have
you
as well.
where you denuclearize, where you actually get rid of nuclear weapons. They're too destructive. They're so bad. They're so dangerous. They're so. A World War III will be many, many, many times greater than World War I or World War II because of the weaponry. You're not going to have army tanks going around shooting each other. You may have that too, but ultimately that won't matter.
Trying to avoid
And we really, when I was doing
Why not?
Tucker Carlson the other night, we were
escalating
talking
the
about
war.
it.
I mean,
Great guy.
He is a great guy, and he's, you know, we had a really good show. We talked a lot about it, and he said, you know, that's right. What's worse? And this could take place in seconds. This isn't in 300 years from now. And the radical left never likes talking about it, and they should talk about it. And other countries know exactly what I'm talking about, and they would get rid of a lot of their nuclear weapons or their nuclear weapons. You have to do it. It's a level of danger that
Ukraine,
the
you get
world
rid
has
of it
never
and
seen before,
see what
and
happens to
people
Ukraine.
don't talk about it.
Do you think that based off your relationship with Putin, that you could convince him to withdraw from Ukraine?
He would have never gone into. We used to talk about it. You know, he was always.
What
Look,
happens?
he's in love with Ukraine. He considers it a part of Mother Russia, and all.
Okay, that
But
he
there's
was a
zero chance he
president,
would have. I told him.
he will
Not
not
gonna
help
happen.
Ukraine
It's
at
not going
all.
to happen. Don't forget, I'm the one that said you can't have a pipeline, and he was okay with that. And then Biden came in and approved the pipeline. It's called Nord Stream 2. You never heard of Nord Stream 2 until I came along, building a pipeline to Germany and all of Europe. And I said to Germany, why would you do this? If you ever ended up in a war with Russia, I will hereby give you the great white flag of surrender, because that's what you need. You're going to surrender. They're going to do 80% of their energy through Russia, who they fought wars with over many years, but they fought many wars. And I said, you can't do that. Now, we are at a point in time that I believe, without question, because of the power of weaponry, is at a level that we've never had. When you go to those two places that I said, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and when you look at the destruction done many, many years ago, the destruction done, the power, and you multiply that power times 500, that's what you're talking about. And we can't have it. And we have very weak leadership. We have incompetent leadership. We have
Ah.
leadership that doesn't understand that this is something that can happen. We have leadership that doesn't hear other people when they talk about it.
Not like him.
And
Potato
they don't get
on
it.
January 6.
We have incompetent leaders. This would never happen. All of the things that we have, you wouldn't have inflation because energy. We had energy, very inexpensive energy. We had energy independence, soon to have energy dominance. We would have been selling to Europe. We would have been selling all over the world. We were bigger. When I left, we were number one in the world at energy. Natural gas, oil and natural gas. We were filling up the strategic reserves. Biden took the strategic reserves that I was filling up and he emptied them out now to the lowest point. Those reserves are meant for war, not to get people's gasoline prices down so they look at good in an election. But he
Once
did
a
that.
while,
and,
I guess.
now, so many things have
That
been
is
wrong.
concerning.
Even we mentioned before the supply chain. Who ever heard of a supply chain problem? You order something and you get it. Now you order something and they tell you you won't have it for years. You won't have it for years. Nobody ever heard of it before. We've become somewhat of a third world country. Our elections a third world. Sorry to tell you that.
You know, we had our friend Steve
Absolutely
on the last
not.
podcast, and he got canceled from YouTube. And if he's on camera, they'll delete our entire channel too.
Oh,
So they're
come on.
taking it to the
Look,
next
yeah,
level.
but he's my friend.
It's crazy.
That is called we don't have freedom of the press.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're the press because, you know, the press used to be like a piece of paper. You're the press now. You and other people and other things, whether it's internet or not. I didn't know that. That's terrible.
Do you think that we're becoming like a third world country where we're going after like former leaders, like a banana republic?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what they do in third world countries. They go after former leaders so they
Okay.
can't come back. I have people investigating me
They have no idea how people
over nothing, over
do in
things like
third world countries.
the boxes hoax. And we had a DA from New York who campaigned,
worry
and
about
an AG in
canceling.
New York, campaigned on I will get Trump. But they investigate me over things that Biden has been horrible with. He's broken every law, every regulation in the book, every single regulation in the book. Nobody talks about that because it's called election interference.
Everyone sees it now, though.
They see it. Oh, they see it. Well, you know, when they announced this event,
He's still
my
going with
poll
the
numbers
neutral.
went up. You see my
election
poll numbers.
pro-
I'm beating Biden by a lot, but what they want to do is investigate you and keep investigating. Because if I was doing badly in the polls, number one, you'd be able to put me on, but
His
nobody would care.
property, bro.
Maybe, but you wouldn't be canceled. But if I was doing badly in the polls, there would be no
Still
investigations.
suffering
There'd be
from
no
this.
problems.
Yes.
Or if I would not run, there would be no problems. Although I think in my case, maybe in my case, they hate me so much. I think it doesn't even matter
Another thing I want to ask.
of his game. Now, you have other people surrounding him who are vicious and ruthless, the same people that take you down because of, you know, I mean, that you're not on. That's very, I kept saying, where the hell is T? What happened to him? I think that's such a terrible thing. You know what you just said about that? I say, we no longer have a democracy. And I say, we don't have free speech. That's an incredible form of not having free speech. They took him down for what? Because he likes Trump?
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
That's exactly what I've been saying. But we're going to win. Look, we're going to take it back. The country has never been more unified in the sense that they have to have
I agree.
change. I'll tell you, this election coming
Wait,
up,
who's T?
they go after me because I stick up for the people. If I didn't stick up for the people, they wouldn't. But they go after me because I'm protecting the people. This election coming up is going to be incredible. And I will say, I think 2016 was maybe the biggest thing that ever happened in politics in this country. I think 2024 has a chance to be as big. I don't know if it could be bigger.
It's gonna be big.
I think the win of 2024 will be much, much bigger than if it was a traditional.
Yes, we'll see
Because you're
then.
going to be able to show how bad things were under their rule.
Oh.
But they don't realize that the Nelk boys are probably a lot more powerful than them. I can tell you, when I did your last show, when I did that show, I got more calls from people that I hadn't heard of in 20 years. They're saying, that was the greatest show. So you've done a great job, fellas.
You were talking about Rocket Man.
And it's true. Right
Thank you. That
across the
means a lot.
hall, right across the hall, you have the most powerful people in the nation. You have the most powerful governors, senators. You have everybody waiting for me to speak. And here I am sitting with you,
Spare
not
it.
saying to hurry up because you're the Nuck Boys,
You're
right?
the
That's
best.
pretty
Thank
good.
You're the best.
You talked about Rocket Man, how you love that song.
But we're going to have an exciting campaign. We have rallies planned all over the country, and they're going to be massive rallies. I don't know. You guys
We'd love
may
to
be-
come. We'd love to
Well,
come.
we'll have you at the rallies.
We'll be there.
You guys may be able to do bigger rallies than me, but I'm not sure about that.
No,
But
definitely.
you'll
We'll
do,
get there one
you
day.
could do big
We'll
rallies.
get there one day.
You're
Give
gonna-
us
you're
20
going to be
years or
there. You'll
something.
be there. No, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by what you've done.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all
Oh,
the names.
are aliens real?
That was the last question.
That's an interesting. I don't personally. I
You don't
think
talk.
so.
You don't talk about aliens.
I don't.
much.
I'm not a big alien person.
No.
I got enough things going without worrying about it. But I'll tell you what, you have a lot of smart people that think that there happens to be a certain site that's the number one most visited site in the whole country. You know
If
that.
he's a
Do
president,
you know what I'm talking about? Where they
said
think
no,
the aliens come
unless
down.
definitely not
I'll
real.
tell you about it after the show.
I thought it was a different site as
One,
well.
What's the difference?
one last question. Biden said that you actually left him a very generous letter when you left office. Is there anything you can include that you said to him?
So I did. No, I wrote him a letter. It's a tradition as president. When you leave, you write a letter to the person coming in. No, I wrote a beautiful letter. I mean, if he wanted to give it, he could do that. But it was a nice letter. I got a nice letter from President Obama.
Amazing.
Thank
President
you
Trump, we
very
gotta
much.
go.
Thank you so much, man.
I think we
Thank
might
you
come to
very
your rally. We'll watch you
Why
speak.
don't you
but
come up? I'd love to have
We'd
you.
love you. We'd love to do that.
You'd be the most important people in the room.
But we
no,
really
but these are the
appreciate
biggest people in politics. You have no idea how late I am, and I didn't rush
Thank
you.
you so
right?
much.
We appreciate
you.
Sending that.
You guys better drop a thumbs up if you're watching this on YouTube before it gets deleted.
KSBB by Cat Divine Times on this will see. Biblioteca nossa vida.